Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Matt Dickinson. As a quick reminder, we are working on the Hardiman project. We are looking at bringing back the famous original exoskeleton. I've got a couple of things to share with you from my personal research on this project, and some really interesting things, I never even realized. And also some comments that I've actually had. One comment I'd like to share is this, which hopefully it appears around here, which was it's my favorite quote of the week, which is the OG EXO from the past. The original gangster EXO. This is very true. It is the first powered exoskeleton that I can find record of. There's a couple of comments of the man amplifier, but from what I can see, the Hardiman is the very first. But yeah, definitely my favorite quote of the week. Really made me smile when I saw it, and I've obviously blanked out the guy's name, but yeah, phenomenal quote. Anyway. So as ever, I'm just moving things around on my other screen. The other thing is I was asked, do I get sponsored on this channel and do I make money? No, I don't make money on this channel, and I don't get sponsored on this channel, and I don't do anything for that particular reason. I'm doing this because I firmly believe that the work that Moshe did and everybody at GE in the 60s is a phenomenal result of real ingenuity of engineering, and like many of others who are probably joining on this channel, we're all a little bit nerdy onto the engineering side, and it's just, I think for me personally, it's just showing a little bit of respect for some of the actual work that's been completed. So impressive what people have achieved when capabilities just were really limited as far as what could actually be done. So that's really my motivation when it comes to this. I'm always quite excited about just how this occurred. So the other news that I have is in my searches looking for what happened to Hardiman and also what happened to Moshe. I did find out Moshe, the ripe old age of 89, did pass away, and yeah, supposedly some of the comments that I found about him, he was quite the character who'd even built his own boat in his basement, and he's the kind of person that I think everybody who's interested in this project would probably have got on with. So yeah, fascinating. Still no word about what happened to the overall design and where this went. However, did find something out which was very interesting. So the story, GE with the US government get involved for the Hardiman project. Actually originally came from the Handyman originally design, and then grew to the Hardiman. In that process, the master to slave arm and hands, they proved that it worked. We're working on that at the moment. And then they got to the legs. They found that the way that it was interfacing, it was jolter, it was quick. It was almost like the scene from Iron Man 2, where the EXO that they wear just spins around and kills the guy wearing it. Not exactly like that, but it's just to give you perspective. So obviously then they rolled over parts of the actual project. Now, the rolling over project, now as far as I can understand from some of the actual inputs that I found on these reports, the rolling over was the design aspect. They did a fresh design for the next iteration, which became the truck. So that rolling process is what I'm interested in. Where's the other half of this? Anyway, that's a side note. So then what happens is they go to roll over to create the truck. Now, loads of videos of this. If you get on YouTube, do take a look at it. When they actually create this four-legged truck and show that you can actually be in a truck and actually drive up hills, if you will, almost, I don't know, walk up hills. And then what happens is they realize it's just not cost effective. It's just super expensive to do it. But the work that was done using 4 legs in this way was really new, revolutionary, and not a really dream-like. But they proved it could be done. Then it gets housed and then is shelved for many, many years until, from the date that I got, it was sometime around the 90s or the early noughties. This small company, brand new company, who's really just establishing themselves, known as Boston Dynamics, small then, not now, they then take up the idea of taking this to the next phase and actually looking at some of their advanced tech, but looking at the same principle, and then we start to see Big Dog. Now, for anybody who's a huge fan of all these progression of these machines, Big Dog was a big, scary, and still looks really impressive. But he in himself was a huge revolutionary step about robotics and what we all knew about robotics. I know about Atlas, but I'm talking about real, actual aspects of what could be used from the battlefield through to emergency scenarios. Then after that, the next iteration from Big Dog, as we know, is I think it was called Big Cat or Cheetah. But then the famous one, the really big famous one, is Spot. So what you actually get there is a timeline of evolution and showing that evolutionary step of the project. So showing that as much as, it was housed and then stopped, the actual the process of what had gone into it, it evolved into what we now know as Spot. I thought that was really cool. And also I found out that Moshe was born on the 4th of July. All the best people are. And it's been phenomenally interesting to actually go through this project so far. And finally, I'd just like to do a bit of a shout to my fellow YouTuber, Ed O'Kane, and also the student chapter for the ASTM F48 student chapter. For those, I met with everybody this week, and we discussed about this project. We discussed about other things as well. And again, if you are interested in exoskeletons, if you are interested in learning more, and you're not a student, do reach out to Nora Nemrica or William Billat, Bill Billat at the Centre of Excellence for ASTM side of F48. They will be able to help you get involved a little bit more. Anyway, right. So there's my little push from everything that we're presently doing. Been super busy. And other things going on as well. So, where did we get up to? We got up to the first initial points of slave hand. We started to break down the components. There's a couple of bits we need to do this week, which I'm really interested in now, the control box. Let's get this control box looking right. Let's get it roughly into position. Then once we get into position, we're going to look at a few extra things. However, I do have something which, I won't lie, I just couldn't wait. I needed to know. The thumb. And so what I've done is I've printed it. So now what we've got is real representation of the actual components. Now, the good thing is, if we consider the actual built piece, this is the thumb. You look at that, you kind of go, okay, that's pretty good. So if I just shrink this down, let's just bring this across. Bring you over to here, like that. And then let's take a look at the original thumb size. So you kind of look, you go, okay, so let me just bring this up a little bit. Bring this over here. Whoops. Like this. Ooh. So that's the thumb. Now I'm a little bit curious. I looked at this image and I also looked at the image of Moshe. Just pulling, our famous image that we're looking at. So let me just come this back. Just go Hardiman. Sorry, 1 second. So now if we consider this, if I just bring this back across, and if we come onto here, and then if we just open this up as a separate image, it's still zoomed in from when I did it last. But you look now, you look at that, and then let's just look at this again. I mean, I'm happy, I won't lie, I'm happy. but you do look and go, I think that thumb's a little bit extended too far. I think it needs bringing in. The other thing I realised as well is if we just look there, there's a darkness to that image there. So that for me says that, if you look there, we had a solid bar across. There needs to be a cutout. And I think that was to do with the actuator interface, because if we look at this singular line here, that also implies that there could have been a linear actuator interface. I'm going to do that cut, and then you've got to remember what we're trying to do at this point is we were not building this from scratch. What we're actually doing at this point here is we're just trying to establish size of things. And then once we get an overall design together, then we'll go to the next iteration, which is fine-tuning of all of this. Nuts, bolts, positions. These, by the way, are assembly caps. So these have been put on, and they've assembled the actual piece and used an assembly cap to push it into position. This is because the front of this will have probably been detachable of some types. So you can get in and actually work on the linear actuators, or I should say, as I said, servos underneath. So yeah, it's there, but it's something to consider. Right, so let's get to action. If you followed me last week, well done. Let's take a bit of a reminder. Let's go around the actual hand and take a look. Again, this we are not doing the master hand yet. The slave hand needs to be right. You know what? I thought that was going to be quicker. So slave hand needs to be right. So let me just update on this. And again, if you... Oh, yes, somebody did post a question. Well, actually emailed me a question. When I'm referring to the system I'm using to navigate around, my space mouse, what is it? So let me just show you an image. Once I show you these images, a lot of people go, oh yes, I remember. Right, so this is the one I'm actually using. Now I'm using this one, and mine's still, well, mine's a really older one. It's not as sophisticated as this. They've now got mobile wireless ones. If you don't own one, I'm surprised. These are insanely good for what they do. This is what allows me to do this and move around and have a little bit of a gander and look in here, look over there, move over here like that. It's a great bit of kit, and if you've not got it, I would strongly recommend, if you can, to buy one. They are phenomenal. But the worst thing is they are not the cheapest thing in the world. When they first came out, they were peanuts. But like anything, you kind of go, yeah, when it first came out. Ha! Okay, so let me not digress too much. Right, see my thumb here. I think this is going to need cutting out. Looking at some of the key things about this, I think this is going to need cutting out, and then this will have a swing arm here that will allow it to push and pull, giving it the full linear actuation servo aspect to it. I think that's what it's going to be, and then what you'd end up with is a bearing in between of here, and then that will allow the thumb to go backwards and forwards smoothly. However, at this point, no bearings. All we're doing is just getting this into position first. So what I'm going to do is quickly swing back to my original, because if you remember, I've done the slave hand as an assembly, but then I've done the master hand. For those of you who know my class, those of you who know me, you will know that I know this as base parting. It is known as a lot of different names and different aspects, but it is, for me, known as base parting. So, let's just take a look down. We see here, this is where we were smart. So if I come to here, and if I go you, and you. And now all I need to do is I'm going to make these non-visible. Or invisible. I know. Yeah, I think I'm funny, so don't judge me. Right, so what I'd really like to do is I'm going to create a plate at this point. See, here to here. This is dead easy. And what I'll do is, I'm just thinking actually, the length of this thumb, I suppose it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because that's going to be an adjustment anyway. I am going to, before I start chopping that thumb back, I need to check it first. So, I'm just going to do a sketch onto here, and what I will do is try and find where the hell that went. There we go. This is because technically there's other things on here that obviously we don't see, but because we were smart when we engineered this, that it's on there, but it's saying, oh, I can see this, and you kind of go, yeah, no, but I don't want that, and it's looking as if to say, well, do you want that? No, I don't want that. So that's all that this is really doing. Now, it's interesting here. You see how this flows in between. I'm probably gonna suggest that I'm gonna cut this right back, do an extrusion right back, and then I'm gonna perhaps put a fillet on it. You gotta remember at this point here, I am making that bit up, and I hate saying making that bit up because it just feels like a real fudge. I mean, in many ways, what I'm doing right now is a fudge, which I hate, and I get that. And anybody who's on the channel now, you'll be kind of thinking, do I really want to be connected to fudging it? Not really is the answer. But that is what I think we should be looking at, which is them two plates in between it. The one thing I know for sure is the thickness of the overall would have been the same. There's no way in hell are they going to create something of multiple thicknesses for a single part. I mean, they were smart in the 60s. They were very smart. But what they also did is they tried to make things as easy as they could in some aspects. And I'm not saying any of what they were doing was easy, because it wasn't. But what I'm saying here is they were trying to look at making this so it wasn't over-engineered, over-complicated for something that they really wanted to prove. The other thing I'm still not sure about is this section here too. I do have some images for us to take a look at. I mean, these are burned. I mean, you look at some of these images, these are badly burned. And we've got some good spots here that we're going to use today, actually, which are these angles here. We now know, look at that it's actually, it is a 30 plus to 30 to minus 30 degrees rotation. What's this? Slave arm assembly from master side. Yeah. I mean, we just don't get a full arm. We can't actually see much there at all. A little bit more is on here. But anyway, let me get back to where we were. So when it comes to the thumb, I'm just not sure about that spot yet. Right, so let's bring everything back in. Oops. There we go. So we've got this freedom here. Now, this gap, I'm going to have to try and find as many images as possible. I think any interference that we'll see on this gap, I think would have come from the linear actuator. This here, I suspect, is going to need to be sealed, and we're going to use it to break down an overall assembly. But yeah, I think that's going to need to be sealed moving forwards. But let me just save on there. Now you see here where I'm saving is that it had to take a minute. That's because if I go to the slave hand assembly, see how the lightning bolts are down here. What this is saying is, whoa, hang on a minute, something's changed. So if I come here, you kind of go, oh yeah, look at that. So if I just go, boom, what it will do is now update it, and now we've got the updated version of what it should look like. So it's, some systems will automatically do it and have these things live, some will not. This is where we are up to so far, and I just realized something else as well. Now, this was something I noticed way too late, and this bit we may need to think about. See here? Now, if we actually just take a look at the actual piece that I ended up making, right? So this is the actual piece I ended up making. What I did is I removed a smaller section here, and this was because one thing that dawned on me quickly is that as we're moving forwards, the servos in this case are either sitting down here, or there is a servo sitting underneath here that controls around this axis. That's the bit where I wasn't sure, and for that I just cut that out. But I'm going to leave it there because I think that's going to promote a bit more discussion. We need to find out what them servos were to know what type of an operational window space we get. Now, granted, in what we're doing here, even though we are recreating something which is incredibly old, and to make this, what we're going to do is use linear actuators, and we'll actually use some up-to-date linear actuators. We will have a real working version of this. However, I don't want to compromise in what was actually being done here. And again, what we're doing is trying to flesh out how this was. And with more evidence that we find, more evidence, we refine this and refine this and refine this. Right. So before I start rabbiting on too much, let's get into the next phase of this. My real focus here now, and my real hope, I'm hoping for here, is this. Now, the F48 student chapter, when reviewing this week, the team of them. So I should do a proper shout to everyone. So the chair, Aidan O'Kane, the vice chair, Jeffrey. I forgot Jeffrey's last name. That's awkward. And the rest of the team, I'll just name them. So we have Jenna, we have Jake, we have Leo, we have Alex, we have Ben. Ben was there, and there's a few who actually reviewed this. Now, I was asking them there just because one thing that I'm doing on here is you get your brain so into this that you get blinded sometimes. Now, as Aidan noted, see here we've got all this. Oh, Mackenzie, apologies Mackenzie if you're actually watching this. We see here we've actually got something that looks fuzzy. I say fuzzy. This could be vacuum cover. Now, what I mean by that is like almost like your air seal cover that you get in many different places, so like a ventilation cover type thing. My point is that can feed into here, and this is the control box, so that his hand sits in here. Now, the point is this connected to here? And then these arms just rotate around, so like within an arm? Or is the control box connected to here, to the actual wrist, and it moves with the wrist? That is a real question, and that is quite a tricky one. So I mean, if we just tab back and take a little bit more look at the Hardiman design itself. So we come on to here. Now, actually, it says Morsha, but I'm not sure if that actually is Morsha. But anyway, it's irrelevant. So if we come back onto here, let me just see, is that one better? Oh, that is the one I'm looking at. So let's see if we can just see on here, open a new tab. So we can get that in. Yeah, it's we need something a little bit more high resolution. And I know we're really pushing the look as far as resolution goes, but we need as much resolution as possible as that we can find. So anything that we can find that is connected to that overall resolution of that image. Nope. You see these are actually on top of that. Now, I had a few people tell me about a Russian engineer on YouTube. I did take a look. I couldn't find anything key in particular. If anybody comes across something that I've not spotted, please do reach out. I am more than happy to hear your opinion on this, because I'm desperately trying to figure out where everything should be sitting. Now, if we just take a look at, oh, this one might be helpful. So this one, if you remember, is the bigger one. Let's see if we can find, it's this one. So, right, so if you look at that, let's see if we can open that one up. Open up in a new tab. Yeah. Right, so if we just open that up. Okay, so we see there. It looks square to the thumb, and that also looks square to the thumb. But the thumb can move, and that's my problem. The other issue I have as well, when I looked at this image, if you look at that section there, that looks like the tip of his hand. And you go, oh my God, that's a nightmare. Or is it? Is it moving into the actual control box? Which is where I'm hoping we're going with this. Where it's where we're going to have to go with this until we're pointed out any differently. Because I think that is how it's working. I think there is a control box there. And I think what people do is they put their hand into it and it goes through that particular spot. So if we consider the drawing here, and this was my ultimate one on this. So if I just come back, let me go into the reports. Just go back to the top because this is a drawing from the actual reports. It appears quite a bit there. So if we consider this drawing, if you look there, we've got a square-like section here, and we also have a square-like section here. I think it's connected to the wrist. So I think it's actually connected to this. And I think that you've got that fuzzy bit there because it can move with it. So based on that approach, if we just phase back to here and we look at this here, what we're now going to do is start to flesh this out some. The other thing is I think these now will be I think these now will, well, they're actually going to be tabs. They're going to be tabs. So my point is I think this section is going to be cut out. You're going to have tabs on each left and right. So if that's to be the case, then I am going to move into the actual component, and what I'm going to do now is move across to my actual overall piece, to my centerpiece here, and then I'm going to sketch. Now quickly bringing that round. Oh, excuse me, windy. Right, so bringing that round, and then going to project my overall sketch onto this particular edge, like that. And I'm going to bring in my component on here, and it should allow me to find center point. I mean, really, this is going to need to be smoothed out, but it's going to be good enough for me to just get the gaps between. Again, as long as I can control my thicknesses. Because, again, what I'm trying to do, I'm going to maintain this and keep maintaining this just so everybody knows. What I'm actually trying to do is get an overall together. We get an overall together and then we start to refine. So those of you who, if any of you who are watching right now are UCLan students, you'll know that I'm actually talking about this as a final project. What I'm talking about when I refer to this is getting this to a detailed design. Not just a first concept design, because that's what we're doing here. We're just producing that first initial concept of the overall thing. And really, as well, when it comes here, I may even just edit that sketch. So what we're really wanting to do with this design is we're wanting to make this as realistic as possible. So we get this overall structure together, and then we start to look that little bit deeper as to, okay, so this works, but why? What's good for this? How could this be better? Is this a true representation? and how close or how far are we right now from the kit? Is it going to be something that we can use? Because the truth of it is this as a project is going to get used. I am going to be talking about this to everybody in the Sun who will listen to this, and I just want this to be as close to the real deal as we can. So that's why I'm spending all this time and just going through this again and again and again. So I'm just going to trim on there, and trim on there. Just close it out, and then the system's going to go, "You've done something stupid." Oh no, it did it straight away. Okay. So if I just tab this out and let's go realistic. So tab this out, and that's where we end up here. Now we've got this spot here. Now this is where it's going to become that little bit more interesting, because what we're going to have to do is figure out how this thing mounts. Because if you look across to the actual process, I can even see that I made a mistake there, but you look there. There looks to be some type of flat plate mount piece here. It's awkward really, just because it's almost fudging, isn't it? And it's not nice. It's definitely not nice. It's caught me off guard really, just because when you look at that, maybe the decision I've just done there is not going to work as I'd like it to. In fact, I'll come out of here, and I'm just going to phase off this for a moment. I want to just go back to my original piece here and look at where this is. So if we look at the 7th piece, that's the 7th piece. So if I hide the 7th piece, that's what we get. So go visible. Because my thought is, if you look at the actual front piece on here and you look here, what we actually end up with, and I think you see that's why this was angled. Yeah. So if you actually look, I think that's why this was angled, because when you look at that degree between there to there, it's within that remit of its ability to turn, and that's what I think it was. And granted, what I've done here is not quite right to here, so we're gonna have to make some changes here anyway. So I mean, you look at that, it's roughly to the same height of there, but it's just too far. I mean, the issue is that I have here is that distance there too far? Is that what it is? Because it looks relatively too far for me. Does that? Or based on there, if you look at that key particular point, is this not high enough? But you look at where the thumb sits, and I would say it is high enough. This control box is going to be a real pain in the backside in many different aspects, but it is something that it does need to be right. It needs to be right, and yeah. Looking at that, yeah, okay. Looking at what I've just done here, for example, on the actual main piece itself, I think that's not right. So I'm going to come back in and I'm going to delete that out completely. And this is, if anybody's ever done this, so in SolidWorks and other things, when you delete something, just goes, right, done, boom, gone. In Inventor, it says, I've got things connected. Do you want to delete them as well? Yes, I do. And that'll just pull everything out. And I suppose it comes down to your own preference with this. But I do personally quite like that. I do really, really do quite like that. What I'd like to do is probably try and just engineer, model, I should say, these out a little bit further. So I'm going to come back to here. I'm going to come down to my actual 7th piece, which sits here. So this is my 7th piece, and I'm going to just edit this sketch. So come onto my editors, onto my sketch, and this is the piece I'm talking about. And yeah, I mean, the only other thing is as well that we're looking at, if you notice, is this is straight. This is not. So really, on the straight, this would actually sit over here. And that's probably why it looks a little bit offside. Trouble is with this shape is it isn't flat. It isn't a straight linear shape, which I won't lie, you kind of sit and go, oh, well, that's bloody irritating, isn't it? And yes, it is. Yes, it is. It irritates the crap out of me. So I'm just going to pad that out a bit here. I know for sure this is not quite right. It's just because when you look, you do kind of go, yeah, okay. And this is heavy fudging. I mean, this is like super fudging. I don't like that, but I think these angles are here just because you can move around it, and it's to stop collision. So I'm guessing that's going to be the case. Right. Let's do this. Let's go to that next initial phase. Oh yeah, look at that. I've just realised that comes into here and that comes over to there. That's not right either. Okay. My goodness, what was I thinking? Okay, so it's this sketch entirely here. I'm not happy with this at all. So let's consider this. So we know by lines, and so if we were to put this in lines, I'm going to say that was a bit of line, that would be a line, that would be a line, that would be a line, and that would be a line. Just pentagonal shape. Yeah, 5. Yeah, pentagonal shape. And you look at where that sits, it remains within that pentagonal shape. So let's just check here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's not the right shape. Damn, 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 and more damn. And more damn to damn of that damn. Damn. Damn, 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 damn. Okay. Okay, so, oh, you know what? Balls to it. So I'm going to bring that back in. And this is mega fudging. I'm just putting that down to here. This edge will definitely sit roughly over here. This is going to sit to about here. And this is going to move down to about there. Something like that. You look here, it's still not quite. So you look though, look at that. You see that line? That says to me there's something underneath it. But I'm not fussed. It's alright, we can do that. We can do that. Right? So you look now, and even though that's still not quite right, it is starting to look a little bit like it should look. Which, you know, it's always a nice thing when things look a little bit more like they should. Bring that in down a little bit more to there, and then I'm just going to bring you over here a little bit, bring you down a little bit, bring you over here a little bit, and I'm going to tab that over, and I'm going to bring you over here a little bit, and what you should be starting to see is the overall shape. And my arm here, oh look at that, right, see it, there, I've got it, see that arm, look at that arm. It's too long. It's way too long. There's many offensive words I could be saying right now, and I'm holding it all in. Oh, damn. Damn, 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 and more damn. Quite alright though, but it just allows me to at least see where that's gone wrong. Bring that end to there, and then over to there. Something like that. Okay, so let's click OK on that. It's going to error out. Now this is just because I've now caused some major issues. It's going, what in the hell have you done? So it's going to come onto here. It's then going to say, I don't see the sketch. I don't see what you want me to do. And all I'm going to say is use that one instead, and then go OK. And if we spin this out, that is what we get. I'm going to quickly offer a quick chamfer. I'm only putting chamfers on here just to give it an overall for me. It's just because I think that looking at the key points here, it's going to have, let's go even lower, going to be the tiny little things, but just to give it some depth. And that, yeah, is hitting that fudge factor. And I'm just putting it on here just to add them in. Like that. Okay, so if I then confirm there, we've now got that. It's a little bit closer. I mean, I must admit, I did mess around with this to death in the past. But it is looking that little bit closer, I won't lie. Right, so what's my other parts? These ones I'm just going to hide for the minute. I don't want that. I'm just going to hide that for the minute. Don't want that. That one is my interesting one. This is the one. And if you look here, the concern now is, do we model within here, within the masterpiece, or do we now leave this and go back? And there's a piece of me that thinks, you know what? Let's just model straight piece to this. And then, because looking at where that sits, it's almost down the faceplate itself. So it's almost like down to here. So what I'll perhaps do is model a piece across that. But I'll combine it with just this piece. It does mean that the assembly that we just put together still needs some changes to it. But we are cooking with gas, boys and girls. This is looking quite sweet. Because I have battled with that stupid control box for weeks. Just looking at it and looking at it, of where the hell is that shape coming from? The one thing I know for sure, though, that this is a control box is all these key points around it. Look at that. That instantly tells me multiple points of assembly. If it's multiple points of assembly, it means there's something in it. So if you look here as well, that flat plate there tells me that even though it's on this axis, it's assembled to it. So yeah, we're gonna use that angle edge there, and we're gonna build it onto this face. So let's do it. Project from you, and then I will do you to you to you, something like that. Luckily, I think the system should allow me to at least extract these key points at angles here, but I'm not going to trust it. I'm just going to take it. So I'll go you, and you. See, now we've got that closed area. That is going to become my assembly point, which I think that's what they've done. And then we can probably, this is so exciting, we can probably start to get the position where the master would sit. And I know I've had a lot of people say to me, master? Yeah, it's just the description of where your arm would sit into the actual response unit. So your master to slave behavior. It is cool. Very, very cool. I'm super excited. So, see, allow me to pick that out. And that seems very small. Oh, I was looking at this to go, what? 1.1 millimeters? I thought something had gone horribly wrong. I'm just going to 100 mil. It's going to slightly sit on the inside, and for me that's quite nice because it's right. So now it's asking me what body is it going to connect to if I can do a combination. So it wants to know who's it going to be connected to. I'm going to connect to just this body. So it will still retain a change between these two. And that's really what I want. And it means that when I move into the assembly, it should now give me some insight as to whether I can use it as two separate pieces. I'm pretty confident I can. So here's the awkward bit. We're just gonna leave. So here's the awkward bit. Right. So I mean, look at that, boys and girls. Oh my God, I'm impressed. I'm so pleased that we got this far. This distance here is massive. It's huge, and it's way too big. That's where our problems are. Perhaps the height between these two are a little bit big, but it's a good blooming start, might I add. I can bring that down, but with the changes that we just made, damn, this is easy. This is easy. Right, okay. Here we go. Let's return. Watch this. Watch it. But, whoa, wrong button. Now you look at that. So we do have a slight issue. Look here, and then we also have here. Right. And this is because, remember on originally we were cleaning out components? Well, I was going through removing stuff. That's what we've got here. Now this is an error delete. So if I just go edit feature, so here, and then click OK, accept. Okay, I'll just delete that out completely. And now let's go modify, delete. Go component here. Just because I've just got to update because I've been changing stuff. So let's close that, and then we have another one here, which is here. So let's go to this one, and we've got it here. And yeah, you see there where it's still being kept on. What I'll do is just delete that, and then I'm going to use that to delete the new one, which is you. Okay. Oh, that's naughty. Look at that one. You see that? It's alright, we can get rid of that too. Let's bring that out too and click OK. Boom. Now that I am a happy bunny. I'll bring that back out. I'll do an update. Right, so this is on slave hand assembly. So this is how our assembly is looking. You can instantly see there is a problem, but that is not an issue. We can fix that because we are that good. Is that black and white? We are doing this, and we've been doing this right. So fixing stuff like that is literally child's play. Anyway, let's get back to it. Look to the left, we've got our lightning bolt. Let's lightning bolt that bad boy up. Hit save, and then go OK. Now, I am super. Oh, hang on a second. Let's look at you. Look at the axes there. That looks really off. We'll assess that in just a sec. Okay. The one thing I'd like to just quickly do is look at that axis piece there, because that's going to cause to be a problem. But because of what we've done and how we've approached what we're doing, it's not hard. We can actually just fix this and fix this time quite easily as well. So if is it on the slave? Is it on the master? No, it's not on the master. I can't remember where that cut came from. Is it on a delete? Oh, look at that! I'm genuinely flabbergasted where that cut came from. It'll have come from somewhere, and I've just totally missed exactly where I was coming from. So, to bring this up to speed quickly, I'm just going to put. I'm not happy with that. That looks like it's completely off center. Why is that completely off center? Okay, I need to come back because we look here. If I come back across here to here, yeah, that is off center. That is not what I'm after, so I'm going to come back to my original design, come back across. It looks like it's been a slight mistake from myself. Bet you I've been rushing through this. So let's get on here, to there. all I'm going to do is just find where the monkeys did that get put. We've got to make that change anyway. I'm going to edit that sketch because this now we know needs to be. I'm actually going to drop that down. I'm going to go to perhaps. Ooh, I'll go 60. It's quite a drop. And let's just look at my, because this is a revolve. There's the revolves. Let's just take a look at these revolves. Ah, that's what this is. It's the wrong blooming axes. Look at that. Ah, look at that. Oh my giddy aunt. That is not good news at all. It's okay. Nice to find it. So I'm just going to remember this of, let's go revolve 1. I'm going to come up to here, over here. Oh my goodness. Tell you, that is not happy outcome for me. So all I'll do now is I'm going to project this and I'm going to take it from there and I'm just going to place something in. I'm going to have to add a point. So I'm now going to add within, can I still put it on a curved point? I probably can. I'll just add an axis. No, in fact, let's add a point to here. So I've gone to there. The reason I've done that is I just want to use something to tab onto, because that needs to be within the right axis and it isn't, which is it's quite annoying. It's quite annoying. So let's get you on here, and then I'll do a. I'll set the point. You gonna let me go on here? I'm not having a good day with these point things today. Right, let's try something else. Just want to remove the axes, and I'm going to go. So point to spheres. It's not a torus. Let's try a torus on a hole. It won't let me on a torus on a hole. Yeah, okay. I am just being really lazy with this, to be honest, but you know. Let's just go. You. Okay. Okay, fine. Right, I'm gonna have to do this properly, which just means I'm sure somebody on the comments will kind of say, "Oh, you could have used." And yeah, if there is a straight one, please do let me know, because that's just me being a wally, really. Oops. There we go. So now you see there, I put that on here, and my revolve was all the way up here. So what I'd like to do is bring it all the way to there. So the reason I do that now is before. Now, somebody told me that you don't have to do this for Inventor, but I've always done this. So, you know, it's just what I do. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to right click and then I'm going to go to redefine. What this now allows me to do is kind of go, sorry guys, I put on the wrong sketch. So what I'm trying to do now is, oh my goodness, I've just realised something else as well. So I've actually put that based on I've put that based on a size of this hole. Okay, so that's actually not going to work. Okay, how interesting. How interesting. So, okay, so what I'll do is I'll just turn on my this sketch and plane, sorry, and then all I'll do is go view, tools, and I'll go measure. So I'm going to take it from this plane and I'm going to go to it's kind of just between there. So I'm looking for my delta. So I've got my diameter, delta. So is, oh my god, 10.072 mil. Brilliant. So then all I'll do is now add a plane. This is such a bad way, 10.072, but it's something I didn't notice. 10.702, and I'm just going to push it downwards, and I'll go just go minus, and then go OK. So I can hide this, and then I'll go down to my new plane, bring it up to revolve. Oh, revolves there, and I'm after plane 3. So if I go right click, I'm just gonna, because really if I'd have just been careful when I'd gone along, this wouldn't have happened. This is actually my mistake, which I hate to say. I'm sure a lot of people will be laughing now. But you see now I've done there. What I'd like to do is place it onto this plane. You see there? Sorry guys, that went really quick, but you see there what it did is it's now that it's centralized. This is quite nice now. So you saw, if I quickly just take us back to the actual piece, see there, it's now looking that little bit closer to how we wanted it to be. But yeah, after here I will upload an updated version of that. So apologies everyone if you have gone through the pain of getting this working and then realize, and then I'm now saying, you know what, I've done it wrong. Kind of like, yeah, we're now gonna kick your ass. Now, what you'll notice here as well is it's on to sketch 29 now, and this section here, let me just see if I can find it, it's here, is on sketch 30. Now, what I'd like to try and do is bring my sketch 29 down to here. Now again, the reason I'm going to do this is if I go on to sketch 29 and then go to edit, I should now be able to see that extension, and that's what I need to know, what that extension is. I need to make sure that it will allow, that it will be part of it. And you can see there it's actually too far away, so all I do now is, sorry, I literally just opened that up and I closed it back down again, just for rabbiting on. So I'm going to go edit, and then this needs to be in parallel to, this needs to be in line with everything. So I'm just going to go, let's take a look on the inside. So what this needs to be is this needs to stay in line with this. So what I'll do is come across, and then I'll go to you. Is it going to allow me to put? Let's put to you. Right. This is where it becomes a little bit, we are going to need to really start to do some homework on this, at this point here, how, what's the size of this. So I'm going to stay with, for this, just for the start, I'll go 110. And yeah, you can imagine what my Saturday night's going to be now. Yeah, let's read all about the Hardiman. Yeah, my other half will be like, God, what have I married? Okay, so with that in mind, I'll just jump you a little bit further forward, and let's go, I don't know, let's go 30 mil. It's not massive, but then let's revolve that. Boom. Okay. So now it's a little bit closer, and I'm feeling good about this. I don't know about anybody else who's on this call. I don't know anybody else who's watching this right now, but I'm feeling pretty good about this. We got that little bit more closeness. I even think, if I'm honest, I even think this can be reduced even more. Let's just go back to Moshe. Yeah, you look there. Maybe just a tad, not massive, a little bit, and that can be just brought back. My plate here is a little bit high, it can be brought down as well. We're looking very good, boys and girls, very, very good. So I'm just going to push back up to 29. Oh, look at me getting that wrong. Let's go 30, and then let's bring you back and go, I'm going to go, I'll go 50. I think this is getting a little bit skinny at this point. It is, but looking a bit nicer though, isn't it? The other thing is as well, have you noticed that is almost in line to here? So if that's almost in line, that tells me that on my sketch 29, this might even sit more like that. Oh, I don't know. Oh my goodness. I think maybe I'm getting a little bit caught up in semantics right now. I think let's move on, or else I'm going to spend the next half an hour just taking a look at what's gone horribly wrong. And right, so let's hit save. Okay, so we've now got the control box. This is cool. So let's get back to the slave hand. We've got the control box in on here. Now, the one thing I'm not happy with is the control box. The control box is automatically on this arm. We do need to be moving forward smartly. So with that in mind, I'm going to delete you out. And then I'm going to go back to deleting a body. And I'm going to bring this in and delete that out. That's how we need it. And this is the point where I think that will be screwed to it. So it's going to be mounted purely to it. Oh, look at that. I'm glad we actually checked that. Look at that. Not happy with that. So I'm going to thicken that out. Just bring that into play. And let's just go. Let's go 5 mil. So you should just bring it completely in line. And then go make a combination to you. So let's make you to here. And then go OK. Right there. So then at least that's connected. We will revisit that. I need to do some homework on that. But I'm just going to go OK and then select save. Right. So now we need the control box. So I'm just going to update on my slave. Right. And let's do a new. And again, we're going to go part and part. So I'm now going to go derive. Coming from my main part as normal. Okay. And then okay. We got all this on here now. And right, so let's just start doing our normal bag. Okay. So I'm going to go save as. And I'll call this control box. And then save. So now we got it. We can tin this bad boy out. We can make it as small and thick as we like. At the moment, it is solid, but it won't be for long. So let's just quickly place this to position. I'm going to place. And I'm going to go control box. And I'm going to go open. Get into position there. And then click OK. So now what I'd like to do. Ooh, look at that. That's not good. I think that's going to have to be trimmed down. Now what I'd like to do is quickly go to my, it's actually not a joint, it's a constraint. I'm going to go U to U, and then I'm going to click apply. I'll go, let's go U and U, apply, and then finally I'll go, hang on 1 second, bring this down. And I'll go constraint of U and U, and then apply. So that's now in position as normal. And what we can now do, which is quite slick, is we can look at that the right way around? Oh my goodness, I think that's the wrong way around. I know for sure that that needs trimming out. That needs changing entirely. So I'm just going to quick save on there, click OK, then come back to my Hardiman. And I'm just going to quickly get to my last drawing, which is here. Click Edit. And looking at what was there then, it's going to be less. Definitely going to be less. So we're going to mount it. I'm going to try and just base this as real as possible. Even there you can see it looks to be less. So I think it's going to be more to this particular point on this angle here. And then I'll click OK. So at the moment it does nothing just because I need to edit the feature. And see how it's now selected onto two features. It's because it now notices that there's actually two pieces within here that it could select. So I'll pull you out and then click OK. And that now allows me to go save, go back to my slave hand, update my my design, click accept, and there we go. We've got that a little bit more on there. So this can now move and not have collision. This, however, now will have a hole that moves across, and this will now get to a position where we can actually now cut out the master. I think the master then will go across, and what we will do on the next what we'll do on the next video is we're actually going to use the dotted line from the original plans, which let's get back to the original plans. We're going to use the dotted line from the original plans, these dotted lines here to the original plans, and we're going to use that as a proportional gain piece to allow us to cut that out. We're going to use a body arm that I've actually got to allow us to set this to a particular size. We would use that as a section to cut out, and then we will roughly have the very first regurgitated version of what was the Hardiman arm almost back to life. Then what we're going to do is go through the next iteration. The next bit is the super exciting bit, the detailed design. What we're doing at the moment is roughly getting this together. And so let me bring this back, and let me just first just bring you all the way back up to the top. So what we did is we have just reconstructed the next initial section. We've now got the control box in position. It sits in the correct point. It's going to need a couple of bits cutting out. I get that. We have a rough idea of how this thing is mounted. We have a rough idea of how this thing is going to be used. We have a rough idea of how the whole thing all sits together. We've now basically got a very first version form of the slave hand. The slave hand was the initial big test, and I don't know if I noted this in the beginning of the video. One thing I realized and I learned by reading about what had gone on during the testing is there is real videos out there of this thing actually running, and I've looked and I've looked and I've looked, and I've not had any luck as of yet. If you do come across it, do reach out, email me. You can find my email on YouTube. If you come across anything, do let me know. If you've got any comments, fire away. Questions are always welcome. If you are one of my students and you're on here and you're interested in this as a project about bringing Hardiman back, do reach out as well. This is not something that is going to stand still. This is something which evidently is moving forward quickly. I hope that you found this quite interesting. For me, every time we put a little bit more of this together, it's like bringing a piece of history back to life. For me, it is the Apollo mission, and it is the Ford Model T. It is the early doors of this, and it's super exciting to see this because